Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home. Hey everybody, welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive, and I have an awesome guest for you today. We're going to be talking about confidence, which is something that I could always use more of. I don't know about you, but I'd love just a little more, a little boost. So you're going to love my guest. And if you're new to the show, welcome. At the Heal Your Hunger Show, we talk about things that don't have a whole lot to do with food. You know, it's about life. What I suffered from at 50 pounds overweight was really not an eating problem, but a living problem. So the living, you know, the issues around living are what drove me to eat. Okay. That's where my eating problem came from. It didn't just plop into my lap. Okay. I developed the eating problem on account of fear, on account of just sort of not feeling like I had the rule book for life. Everybody else got the book but me. So, you know, so we talk about how to live more effectively here, how to live, you know, just a more happy and peaceful and purposeful life, and how to make peace with ourselves. So I like to have guests come on who talk about these topics. And of course, I'm always on here on many shows, just talking about my own life and how I've overcome many different obstacles. And once in a while, I even have some of my clients come in and talk about those things too, the transformations they've experienced on account of Heal Your Hunger. So welcome. Glad you're here. If you love the show, please share it with other people. Please let people know about it. Let them know there's a non-diet approach to losing weight. Okay. Heal Your Hunger is all about weight loss from the inside out. So let them know. They don't know. Thank you for sharing this show. Thank you for also reviewing the show on iTunes. I would so appreciate that. If you're accessing this through iTunes, just pop over and leave a review. That would be super helpful too. And last but not least, join us in the Secret Sauce group. The Secret Sauce group is a place on Facebook. It's a private group where we can continue the conversation. So just go to the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating on Facebook. Okay, so go to Facebook, type in the search bar, Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating, and request to join. We'd love to have you. That's where all of our announcements come out. That's where I do a lot of my recording of my shows. And that's where we talk, we help, we support. So don't go without that support. Okay, on with the show. So my guest today is Kerry Tepedino, and she is a global leader in women's personal development, focusing on mindset mastery, emotional intelligence, and self-love. She supports women in challenging their self-defeating behaviors and overcoming past traumas and fears to create a life of true happiness rooted in self-love. She's awesome. I love her. She's a good friend. Let's hear from Kerry. Awesome sauce. Welcome, Kerry. So glad you're here.
I'm so glad I'm here. We're going to have so much fun.
Thank you, honey. So happy to have you here. This is a great topic, you know, because what I hear probably more than anything from emotional eaters is about confidence. And obviously and you know this, you know, when we don't feel good in our bodies, we lack confidence. We lack confidence to show up, stand proud, you know, let people see us on Zoom. We don't want our videos on, like we're just kind of hiding, and it just blends into everything, you know, this lack of confidence, you know, what we ask for at a job, like being willing to, you know, to ask for more money, you know, ask for more, you know, in our relationships and our sex life. I mean, there's not a whole lot that isn't affected by a lack of confidence. And you are the confidence queen here.
But I wasn't before. And that's
so talk to us about that transformation.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for trusting me. I know the work you do, Tricia, you're such a dear, good friend of mine. And I know how much your community means to you. And so it means a lot for you to have me here. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
I'm excited to be here. And so, you know, as you know my story inside and out. We've been good friends for a long time, but you know, the confidence piece is a real thing. And when I was an emotional eater, and I wasn't just an emotional eater. I had an eating addiction as well. Right. And so when I was in that place and I was 50 pounds heavier and I didn't have the skill set to be with my emotions. So whenever I was bored, fatigued, lonely, tired, stressed, I turned to food. Food was my lover, my friend. It was my everything. And because of that, it wreaked havoc on my physical, but not just my physical health, my mental, emotional, and spiritual health as well. And when you get to that point where I was at, where I was that woman who was crying on my bathroom floor in that wake up moment of, oh my gosh, keep doing this. And you are truly slowly killing yourself, because my electrolytes became imbalanced. That affects your cardiovascular system. You will slowly kill yourself if you keep this up. At some point, your organs fail. Or pick yourself up and turn it around. Right. And I didn't have the confidence in, before that, even in that moment, I didn't have the confidence. The confidence didn't come overnight. It didn't come.
No, it doesn't.
No. And it's like,
turn a switch. Wouldn't that be nice?
I know. And the thing is, and you know this, right? When you're an emotional eater, what happens is every day is a new promise. And usually what happens, it's also for me, every day wasn't just a new promise that today's going to be different. Today, I'm not going to emotionally eat. Today, I'm not going to overeat. Today, I'm going to eat like a quote unquote normal person, like every single day. And so I broke that promise with myself thousands and thousands and thousands of times, which then turned into like chipping away my trust in myself and my relationship and my belief in myself, right? I didn't believe in myself. And that whittled away my confidence. Like if I can't even get through one day without emotionally eating, how can I expect that I can do anything right? So it was really, it's that monkey mind is super slippery, right? And sneaky and conniving.
So amen, sister. I mean, 100%. That's I think every emotional eater's experience, we feel so disappointed in ourselves. We feel like, oh, wow, like there I go again, like blowing it again, and we are afraid to trust for sure, and it does sap our confidence because I just felt like a loser. I just thought I'm such a loser. I want it and I can't do it. And I fail every time. So hence I'm a loser,
Right. So. Like if I can't even eat normally, man, I must not be able to do anything normally. Right. Because eating is just such a basic skill. Right. I had those same types of thoughts. Yeah. Rough.
So you're, fast forward, several years and you have you have this whole beautiful way and of helping people really build their confidence. And I love the work that you do. It's just so empowering. You are so empowering. So let's talk about kind of what are those pillars of self-confidence and how do you get there?
Yeah. So the first thing that I would want to share with our friends here today is courage. And the reason why courage is one of those three main pillars is because it's not that it's going to be like when you take on a total transformation of self, which is what's happening here for our friends when they do this work with you, when they do this work with me. And just so everybody here knows, like the work that Tricia and I do complement each other. And it's not that you have to have one or the other. Like when you do both together, you really skyrocket, like you catapult to the next level really quickly, right? And so courage, though, is that first pillar because it's not that you're not going to be nervous to make these major life changes. It's not that you're not going to feel scared sometimes, right? Because here's your comfort zone. It's this box, and that box is your Cheetos, your Doritos, your cookies, your whatever, like those things that we were talking about, your habits and patterns that pull you back into the pattern. But what we're talking about today is we're talking about stretching yourself outside of that comfort zone. We're talking about stretching yourself into an area that feels a little uncomfortable, but everything you want is there. The financial freedom, the relationships that are connected, the body that you feel proud to be in, like everything's just outside your comfort zone. And so it's not that you're not going to be scared or nervous to grow and expand and stretch yourself. But what I'm standing for with that first pillar of unshakable confidence is be courageous anyways, right? And that courage, surprisingly enough, like when you follow the courage that and you start to get results, you start to notice like, oh my gosh, I made it an hour without emotionally eating. You don't have to even focus on a day, focus on 15 minutes if you need to, or an hour. I made it an hour. Oh my gosh, that took courage because I just had that fight with my boyfriend, but I didn't turn to food. I made it through the hour. Like that takes courage, and that's going to be a win. And that win is going to build up your confidence in yourself. Like if I got through 1 hour, maybe I can get through 2 hours. And then you get through 2 hours. If I got through 2 hours, I can get through a half a day. You get through half a day. Oh my gosh, I'm shooting for a whole day without emotionally eating. Right. And that takes courage to be the next version of yourself. And that next version of yourself then becomes your new norm. And then you get to stretch to the next level again from that place.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is that my experience is that we emotionally eat because we have fear in so many different places in our lives. So it's not only courage, to me, it's courage to live the way we're really guided to live instead of shrinking. And it's because we always, in my experience, I would overeat because I was mad at myself that I wasn't living with courage. I used to call myself spineless. Like I used to curse myself for being spineless because I didn't have courage. I didn't have courage to say what I needed to say in my relationships. I didn't have courage to, do the thing that I was afraid to do, to go outside my comfort zone. So I would always sort of like beat myself up with food saying, you're so spineless, you're so weak, so it's absolutely like we have to step out in spite of being uncomfortable. I had a client yesterday actually who's like, oh, I don't want to be on those calls, like, those Zoom calls because they make me uncomfortable. And I laughed. I'm like, who do you think is comfortable like at first when they get on those calls? Nobody, like this is about like, you better get comfortable with being uncomfortable because that's where the gifts are.
Right. And that's the emotional mastery piece that we talk about, is that get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable or get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because from that place, if you're able to be with fear, if you're able to be with anger, jealousy, whatever that is, if you're able to be with that and not check out, escape, or numb out from it, but be with it, be the witness, be in it, be the witness of those emotions, how they feel in your body, how they move through your body, remembering that emotions are just energy. And like Albert Einstein taught us, energy can never be destroyed. It just gets transmuted, gets transformed. So if you can just stay with it, it's going to shift and change into something else. And so that courage to be with it, if you can do that, then what happens is you start to decharge those emotions that used to take you out, the self-doubt, the fear, all that. And then you really don't have a lot to be afraid of anymore, which is really, really a place of empowerment.
So true. I love that, Carrie. Like if you're just willing to, I tell people all the time, if you're willing to be uncomfortable, if you're willing to feel, like if you just expand your container of feelings, like it's true. It all comes down to feelings. Yeah. Like anything that scares us, we're scared of the feelings, like the feelings that we might have. So if we are like, okay, they're just feelings, then there's really nothing we can't do.
Right. And then getting curious and interested as to the story that is attached to the feelings. Like what are the ideas that you have about yourself for having those feelings? And reworking, we call it the art of writing a different story, right? And so reworking that story, like, oh, well, if I'm feeling spineless, I must not be good enough. If I'm feeling like I don't have any value to give, so I'm not going to use my voice, then I must not be good enough or worthy or whatever that is, right? And we've all felt that who have dealt with the emotional eating piece. And so when you start to get curious and interested, well, where does that stem from? What is that really about? because it's really, I don't think that's really about my marriage or my spouse or my employer. And you start to get curious and interested to that, usually between, I say 3 to 7 years old, something we witnessed or we experienced ourselves, something influenced us. And so going back and looking at the root of it and rewriting the story is also super powerful, because it puts you in the driver's seat of your own life again.
Yeah. Love it. I love it so much. Well, good for you for just showing people that it can be done. I love that. So did we just cover the second one?
Well, the second one is trust.
Okay.
And so I think the second one is really important. So the first one was courage. The second one is trust.
Okay.
And it's trust because when we kind of touched on it in the sense of, when you start to be courageous and change those habits and those thought patterns, and you do them consistently, you start to create a different relationship with yourself. And when you start to create a different relationship with yourself, you start to believe in yourself. You start to trust yourself. So that trust piece is really important. If we can't trust ourselves to have our own backs, it's like we won't be able to trust anybody.
I find that trust comes up with emotional eaters a lot because we, as at a young age, we didn't have people we could trust. We had people who are not trustworthy, people in authority who were supposed to be there for us and either just didn't show or abused that trust, that authority. And so emotional eaters have a lot of trust issues. And so I think this is so important. And it's, can you talk a little bit about how we get to that place of kind of coming home to ourselves and realizing like it's us, like it's up to us, and it's us that, the building that trust starts within.
It really does, for us to be able to trust other people, trust the world around us, all that. It really does start with trusting ourselves. And so when we trust ourselves, when we know that we have our own back, no matter what, it doesn't mean that we have to be perfect, right? It means that we accept ourselves no matter what. We accept the extra weight, we accept the moles, the scars, the whatever it is that we feel might not be perfect. We still accept ourselves. We trust ourselves that we're still going to make decisions for ourselves that are going to keep us on track for being happy, for being healthy, right? And it doesn't mean that we have to be perfect to be able to have those things or deserve those things.
Yeah, no question. I think that for, a lot of people don't believe that they're worthy. Obviously, they have that worthy issue going on. But I didn't believe I was worthy or a child of God. And, I didn't believe that I could take up the same amount of space that somebody else took up. I didn't believe I was as worthy as those other people, those beautiful people around me, or those super smart people or whatever. I thought for some reason I was less than, so I think the trust piece comes in too, and just trusting that, hey, if I'm here, God wants me here. Like I have a purpose. I matter just as much as the next person. Like as a child of God, that's it. Like that's all. I'm in, I'm worthy, and just really trusting that if I'm here, it must be because I'm worthy.
Yeah. And that piece, believing in something bigger than yourself, we call it calling in grace. So allowing yourself to believe in something bigger than you, whether you call it God or universe or source or Buddha or whatever it is, it's just, it takes pressure off of yourself to need to know all the answers.
Yes.
It takes pressure to know exactly how this is going to turn out or whatever. It just, it provides this space to exhale and allow yourself to be you and to be in flow with how life, it's like, get intentional with the vision, what you want to create for yourself, get intentional with that. And don't get so wrapped up in the how first and foremost, like first get the vision and then allow yourself to figure out the how or be helped with the how. Right. And then and then have the right support and accountability in place to sustain that, which is actually the third pillar, is the sustainability. So, you don't want a magic pill or a Band-Aid. Like, you don't want to just create a short-term result. Like what we're talking about here is, how can you really transform and shift how you're in relationship with yourself, how you're in relationship with your feelings, staying present, allowing yourself to master those mindset skills, those emotional mastery skills, and not be taken off sideways when adversity happens, like a pandemic or something with the politics or the economy or your relationship, but being able to really be grounded and rooted in who you are. And so when life happens, because none of us escape life, when life happens, who you are in the face of it is like you're on point, you stay on track. Or if you fall off track, you're able to bring yourself back on track very, very quickly. So the sustaining part is really important, in the sense of, we don't want this to be a magic pill. So make sure you do have the right strategies to skill you up with these things that we're talking about, and then have the right people in place, the community, the mentorship, all of those things in place, because none of us can do it alone. Lone wolfing never ever works for anybody, no matter how smart you are or successful or you already are. Lone wolfing never works, right? And so it's having the right people in place that are where you want to go, or at least 2 steps ahead of you, so that they can see where you are and they can say, yes, and this is what I've already proven can work, right? Follow this path, follow these things, these steps, these strategies, and leaning in is super important.
Yeah. And that takes trust too, right? Trust that there is a path. And I didn't, honestly, what I know now, it was like, I didn't want to trust the path I created for myself, because it got me to a dead end, so trusting a path that works, a tried and proved path, that takes trust as well. And I love that, what you're saying, Carrie, because it's just so true. And nobody can overcome emotional eating on their own either. So it's so powerful. And I just want to say that as a leader in what you do, and just in your life, you have been, somebody who's walked her talk, and done very courageous things. Can you just say a few of the courageous things you've done in the past 5 years?
Well, these past 5 years. Okay. Because ending the eating disorder was about 20 years ago. Yeah. Well, past, I guess 6 years, because Grayson's 6.
Okay. So Grayson's 6.
Yeah. So I had my first son on my own at 42, because I hadn't met my king yet, and family's number one to me. And I just refused to let that dream go. And so I had Grayson on my own. And then I met my husband at 44, I guess. And we married by the time 10 months later. So I got married at 45. So my first son has been with my husband, his dad, since he was 2. He'll never know life without him, really. And then we set out on a 3-year fertility journey. And I just had twins, a little boy and a little girl. Just had twins. They're 6 months old, and I'm 48. So I'm almost 50. And it just keeps getting better and better. And the whole while, I'm CEO of this amazing company, very successful company, and grew that from scratch. And basically because it was the program that I was looking for when I couldn't find it. And so the company kind of birthed itself. But yeah, through the pandemic, I was CEO of the company. I was pregnant in bed, on bed rest. I was a homeschool teacher. I was like, it was it's been a pretty crazy year and a half.
Yeah. Sure. But you've done it with ease and grace. I'm telling you, I've watched every moment, and it's just beautiful. You are incredible. So congratulations on that, and your beautiful family. So you have a really cool event coming up, and I just, I really feel like this is going to really wet people's whistle. And if you do love what you're hearing, if you want to go deeper with it, Carrie has a cool event where you can do that, and it's all online.
Yeah, so this is the first year. So this is our 6th annual event. It's called the Believe event. But this is the first year we're having it online for obvious reasons, just everything going on in the world. And so it couldn't be easier to attend. I mean, you don't have to get flights, you don't have to get hotels. And if there's any nugget that landed here, if you want to really build your trust in yourself and your courage, and you want to make sure you're able to sustain your results, any nugget that landed here, you really do get to come to the Believe event. You deserve that. It is the gathering of the year for women who are ready to let go of the beat up of self, who are ready to let go of everything that's holding them back and step into trust, step into courage, step into empowerment. And we've already had thousands of women go through the Believe event, and they say, and we've heard from a lot of people, there was life before the Believe event, and then there was life after the Believe event, because their sense of their belief in themselves and what they know is possible, and letting go, shedding what isn't working, and getting this new vision, and then realizing this actually is possible for me. Day one is all about that vision, and we do this beautiful fire ceremony, and we're doing this amazing work around releasing and calling in. And then day 2 is the how. So day 1 is a vision. Day 2, we're going to skill you up on exactly how to make it happen, and it will shock you how easy it can be. And then day 3 is we give you your specific roadmap, like your personal roadmap into how to breathe life into this so that you can sustain it, so that those 3 days aren't just 3 days. And it's not just the best event you ever went to, but it really is like, oh my gosh, this just transformed my life and shifted the trajectory of my life, and in a very good and positive way. So it's so exciting.
Sounds amazing. And people can go to the show notes and get that link for the Believe event. Really, it sounds so cool. And I always, see you going into this and see you coming out of it. And it's, it's life transforming for you too. Like
it is. Yeah. Oh my God. I love putting it on. I get just as much from putting it on. And it's like, gosh, it would be so fun to be in the audience and just receive. Yeah. I get so much from putting it on as the trainer as well, though. I mean, it's amazing. It's fun that you noticed that. So thank you. And it's coming up. It's right around the corner. It's the end of September. Okay. So we want to jump on that. The room is filling up.
Great. Awesome. So check out that link in the show notes. Definitely join it. Give yourself the gift of 3 days of, just taking in amazing, positive reprogramming of that negative mindset, get on a really positive track and a self-loving track. So that is what will happen at the Believe event. So thank you, Carrie. And thanks so much for coming and being a guest on the show. It's always good to hear you. Always great to see you. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me. I love you.
Love you too, sweetie.
The work you're doing is amazing. And I'm excited to have your people there, your friends, your family, your community, and let's make some magic happen.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you on the next show.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.